Hello. Welcome back to the AtTech SEO YouTube channel. My name is Dan Taylor, and today I'm continuing the technical SEO basics little mini video series with an introduction and primer to international SEO. So, international SEO typically enters the fray when businesses want to target markets and languages either within their own sort of domestic market. So in the US, this could be targeting English and Spanish, or wanting to branch out into other countries such as Brazilian Portuguese, Spanish for Mexico, or across Europe. The other angle to this that might drive this could be that the site starts receiving a significant amount of traffic from different countries that the business can cater for through their own supply chain and logistics. So, developing an international version of a site can help with payment gateways and ensuring the correct legal information is being presented to the correct markets. Now, in international SEO, a lot of the technical side of it comes down to Hreflang tags. So Hreflang tells Google which version of your website should be shown in which country. This works to ensure that the correct language version is displayed to the right user, enhances user experience significantly, gives them the correct currencies, gives them the correct shipping information, and from a business perspective, it can also funnel leads to the correct regional sales teams, the orders to the correct regional distribution warehouses, and smooth business costs and operations from that side. The simplest approach to hreflang is just having language-specific versions of the site. Across Europe, this could just be having a Spanish version, English version, Italian version, a German version, etc. However, you can then take it that one next step further and do things like having German for Germany, German for Austria, German for Switzerland, as well as just a blanket German version overall as a catch-all. This starts to become more complicated and can oftentimes lead to Google overriding these areas if, for example, the German for Germany website or alternate version has the same content, same value proposition, and same information as the version of German for Austria. Google isn't going to invest resources in indexing and storing effectively the same web page over and over again. So whilst hreflang is a necessity, it is again a signal, not a directive, and affects canonicalization, which we've covered in the previous video. So implementing hreflang involves connecting a set of URLs with each other using HTML tags. You can also do this through the XML sitemap or through the HTTP header, but the HTML method is probably the more common one you're going to come across. Then second, from my experience, the XML sitemap version, and then the actual HTTP header itself. So what the HTML tag actually looks like is quite simple. You have the rel attribute, which will just state alternate because it is rel alternate. It is declaring these URLs of alternates of each other. Now, it is worth noting at this point this is separate to the canonical tag. The canonical tag does not form part of your hreflang cluster. Your hreflang tag then will use either just a language code, which I've just realized I've spelled langware. Nice accent change. And then the country code itself. So this could be DEDE, ENDE, ENGB, etc. And then the actual href attribute, the URL itself, which will form part of this. Now, after implementing these tags, Google will need to recrawl all the URLs to detect the hreflang attributes. And initially, you might see some errors across indexing. You might see different issues across third-party tools that report and you can use to monitor your hreflang situation. But these can resolve over time. You then want to actually start investing and worrying about indexing issues after Google has had time to crawl, reprocess, and actually understand the new website environment. As mentioned, you can also specify in the XML sitemap. These tend, from my experience, to be more used when you have large complex setups and multi-platform. So, for example, if you're running a Salesforce website across the US and Canada, but then the European team are using something like a Magento or SAP, using the XML sitemaps, it's a common language, it's a common implementation, and you can create those clusters across these sites without having to overly worry too much about actual implementations in the HTML. This can also be a good solution for things like non-HTML documents like PDFs, as can HTTP headers. But again, from experience, HTML and XML sitemap implementations are going to be the more common ones you come across. The other thing you'll come across quite commonly is Xdefault. Now, Xdefault replaces the language targeting element, a hreflang element of the code, and serves as an instance for a fallback, essentially. So if you have sites for Spain, Italy, and Germany, but want everybody else who's not part of those target markets to land on the Spanish site, because that is your main website, your original website, it is your preference, Xdefault can be used as that fallback for any other language. Because it doesn't specify the language or country, you can tend to find there. From experience, this tends to be an English version of a page working with American and European companies. You want to validate your hreflang implementation as much as possible after any main key deployments or when you undergo mass content publications or changes. This tends to get more tricky around things like blogs, because if you have a blog published on, say, your American alternate version, you tend to not want to duplicate that production onto the Canadian or any other English version of a site, because again, it's a signal, not a directive, and Google might choose just to ignore the hreflang cluster on it and just index the US version or the original version, or whichever URL has the strongest canonical signals from the collection of canonical signals that it wants to consider. So on that note, that is an introduction to international SEO and an overview of hreflang. We'll be covering more implementations and also things that can go wrong in hreflang in a few future videos. But if you found this video helpful and you're finding the Technical SEO Basics series helpful, please do drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to keep up to date with future videos, both in this series and across the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.